Welcome to Columbia Gorge Locals. I'm your host, Joey Lick. Today I got to interview two very special guests. We had to do it on scene at the airport as they had to be within a couple minutes of their airplane in case they got called out, which they did right at the end of the interview. Special thanks to Jeff Renard for letting me use the conference room over there and show me around. This is today's guests, who you know them as the Fire Boss pilots, Paul and Aaron.
You are not a burden. You're not your past. You're not your first mistake, and you're not your last. Don't let these demons tell you there's no way out of the dark. That's how you feel. That's not who you are.
I'm here today with two single-engine scooper pilots who are currently in Dallasport waiting for the next fire to happen and who have been currently fighting the fires in the Columbia Gorge. Today I have here with me Aaron and Paul. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be here. Everything looks a little bit different because we're at the airport here. So I just want to thank Jeff Renard for letting us use one of the rooms. So now when people say fire boss pilot, what is the correct term instead of fire boss pilot? Single engine?
Yeah, the correct term the industry is going to is single engine scooper
Single engine scooper. Okay, got it.
for the planes we fly. And then there's the twin engine scoopers, everybody, all super scoopers as they refer to.
And but the ones that everybody sees around here.
Yeah,
are
the
single
little
engine.
single engines or single engine scoopers.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're from Louisiana
Yeah,
and you're from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get here?
In that.
I assume, like we talked about, there's no fires in Louisiana, right?
No.
Not like this.
So, like where you want to talk about how it started in fire?
Sure, yeah.
Or just
Well, yeah, I'm curious how
like the story we talked about yesterday.
yeah, how you transition from, just being a pilot and then wanting to get into this.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I met local crop duster around home and started kind of hanging out with him and trying to figure out what I was going to do after I graduated high school. And I was like, aviation would be a cool career because we're so heavily, it's either farm or chemical plant industry at home.
Uh-huh.
Good jobs, but just, you're in prison and working at chemical plant all day.
Yeah.
But it was like, aviation would be pretty cool. That's something different. So I went to an aviation program in North Louisiana and then ended up crop dusting and running a small crop dusting business at home for 11 years. And then the friend that got me interested in flying in the first point, he had migrated his way into fire at that point.
Mhm.
And we had talked about, some of the stuff he was doing, and that was interesting. And
So it wasn't like your childhood aspiration to be a
no,
fire pilot.
or a crop duster. But no, it was just a natural progression.
Okay. And what about you? How'd you get in it?
So I come from mostly a crop dusting and flight instructing background,
Uh-huh.
and went to out of high school, joined the Army National Guard, Kansas Army National Guard, and while I was in that, I was also going to Kansas State University, learn how to fly there, and then kind of went from there and started teaching at a little crop dusting school, learned how to crop dust, and then kind of the rest is history. And then a couple years ago, this is my second year of fire. Decided to make the transition from crop dusting to fire. So here we are.
So both of you guys, you hadn't heard about it until you went into to get your pilot's license, right?
No, went to aviation's program in '89, and it wasn't until 2005 or '6 that I
Oh, wow.
stumbled across, aircraft.
Yeah. What about you?
Fires.
So I had worked with somebody that was a single engine air tanker
Uh-huh.
pilot back when one of my first flight instructing jobs, and talked to him about it. And, like, oh, that sounds pretty neat, And so then fast forward about 10, 12 years later, there's like, I meet all those requirements. So I'm gonna check it out. And so
Just kind of like,
Yeah.
screw it. Yeah, we're gonna
I was like, I was ready to do a change. Prop dusting is great, but you do it for, I did it for 8-9 years, and then it's like, maybe do something else. So
Yeah.
it's a nice transition.
Well, it's gotta be good training from going from crop dusting to this, right? Because you're going super low elevation.
You get used to flying heavy airplanes low to the ground.
I'd imagine it'd be harder to come from like, let's say, commercial to this, because it's way, way, way different.
Yeah, maybe the corporate world or something like that would be a little bit more of a transition for them, or be a little bit more difficult.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Okay. Now you've been flying for 6 years.
I've been flying the Scooper for 6 years.
Scooper for 6 years.
And then, so I got into fire in 2008 was when I first got into it. And I was doing fire part-time and still crop dusting mainly in the summers. And then since 2015, I've been full-time fire ever since.
Gotcha. Okay. And you don't get a whole lot of days off when you're out here.
No, we work 12 days and then have 2 days off. And that's all rotation.
And those 12 days, are you on 24 hours till something happens?
No, it's usually from 9 in the morning to 7, 8, 9 at night.
Gotcha. Okay. So you kind of take turns for who's
So we limited to a 14-hour duty day and 8 hours of flying.
Gotcha. Okay.
So no, to answer your other question, when we get an order, it's for both of us. We both go together.
Gotcha. Okay. Now you had to get additional training to fly 100 feet off the ground, I'd imagine, right? What did that look like?
Well, I just took a plane and started practicing. Paul got a little better experience because he used to teach other pilots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So you start off and kind of work your way down in areas that are free of obstacles, that are known areas.
Yeah. So not like the gorge.
Right. That's right. Yeah. You would find a wider open space, and then you kind of add some complexity as you go.
Now, do you have, and part of that training, is it like you're training in mountains, smoke, wind, water, all that stuff, or is it a lot of it simulated till you actually get to?
So some of the requirements to get to this point do require mountain flying time, low level time, dispersal time. Those are all kind of part of the requirements to get here. But you're right too, that sometimes those situations can be simulated or
pretty much exactly as Top Gun showed. That's what you're saying.
Not quite. Maybe much slower. Much slower speeds.
Okay, couple mile an hour less. Do you remember your first actual fire that you guys went to that you were on for? What was that like?
So I remember mine just 2 years ago was the crabapple fire in Texas. Mm-hmm. And it was a little bit hectic. I felt like I was well prepared. The Coastal Airstrikes training program got me well prepared for that. And I was also flying with a very experienced pilot, as he's the lead, and then I was his dash 2 or second. And so, it was quite a bit going on there, but
I'd imagine after the 4th or 5th pass, you're like, all right, I got this. We're okay.
Yeah. It's just like anything else. You start getting more comfortable with it, but still have to maintain that vigilance, just like you would going into anything that's potentially dangerous.
What about yours?
I don't remember the actual first one, but it's chaotic, stressful.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back, and then we got canceled, so I didn't have to say it.
Yeah. What's the actual name of the aircraft that you guys fly? Like the technical name?
So it's an Air Tractor.
Air Tractor.
Made in Olney, Texas.
Okay.
So they are currently being manufactured. There's a lot of aircraft out there aren't being currently manufactured, but it's currently being manufactured.
Do you guys know the cost on them? And is that in the back of your head when you're dropping for wire?
Just an airplane from the factory, I think now runs about $2.5 million.
Jeez.
And then you probably put another $200,000 gate system on it. Probably another $150,000 worth of radios, and then $1 million+ set of floats and the install costs for that. So you're $3.5 million.
Yeah, well over $3
million.
Yeah, that's crazy. And do you know how much horsepower they have?
1600
16.
Pratt and Whitney.
Jeez. What about, I know you guys had told me yesterday, but how much water does the tank actually carry?
About 800 gallons.
800.
Mm-hmm.
And how long? So I think Jeff had told me when you guys first leave, the water's already in there before you take off.
We'll
You're
take
right.
a load out of here usually.
Okay. And then the rest of it's all from the river.
Mm-hmm. River or scoop site.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So when you run out of water, you go drop the first load, then you come back. How long are you skimming on the river to get that next 800 pounds?
About 10 seconds, 10, 12 seconds.
10
That's all it
seconds?
takes from when you touch down and deploy the scoops. So when it's loaded, that water's ramming into the hopper.
And that's something I didn't know yesterday.
Very quick.
I thought the things on the bottom were where you hold the water, but it's actually those.
Yeah.
It's like a big, was it a 3-inch pipe, 4-inch pipes?
Mm-hmm.
They go up to the tank that's right in front of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a common misconception that the water's in the floats.
Yeah.
The floats just support the plane on the water. The actual water goes in front of the windshield to just behind the firewall is
That's
water
crazy.
shield.
And I assume the first few times that's got to be kind of scary, just picking up, was it 16,000 pounds of water?
Well, the tow weight of the airplane, 16,000 pounds is the max gross weight. The airplane itself weighs about 9,000 pounds and change. And so it's that difference there that you're picking up. Thankfully, with the 2-seat airplane, the first time you do it is with an experienced pilot in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, you got to feel a difference, like when you're towing a big trailer, right? When you dropped, when you pick it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can feel when the scoops deploy. To continue because the airplane won't float with a load in it. It'll float with the airplane.
Never thought about that.
So some of the weight's got to be supported by the wings. So you have to keep moving.
Have you ever heard of one sinking or anything?
There's videos of them.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes, you can release it. Yeah.
Something even if it's in the water, you still can.
Yes. Yeah. So if something happened, you can redeploy the scoops and you can drop the load back in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But
So the floats, the gross weight of the airplane is 16,000, like Paul said. The floats support 11,500 pounds.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then when you've got 380 gallons of fuel on board, you're without any water in the hopper. So that's
so heavy.
So when we leave, we're only leaving with about 500 gallons of water. And then as we burn the fuel off, then we start increasing and working towards 800 gallons.
Swapping the weight.
So
I see. Okay.
That's what we're doing.
So when you leave with that amount of fuel, how long can you be out flying and taking dips? You know, let's say the GrossHopper fire, for instance. How long can you be out there before you have to come back and fill up?
Like to be back on the ground 3.5 hours after.
Gotcha. Okay. That's crazy. So when you guys were there for when it first went off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it started, what's the travel time from the start of the fire area to going back to the river? Did you come to the river?
So the first time we were out at Timothy Lake,
and
so it was about 15 minutes per cycle or per trot around.
Gotcha. Okay. Gosh, it's not that much at all. That's awesome. When you go dump the water, is it just open or shut, or can you?
With the hopper, the hopper, the gate here called the gate, so you can adjust different settings for different coverage.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's not just open or shut. You can go halfway and so that was one of my questions I had for you guys yesterday, bunch, was how do you know where to drop the water if it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds? And I mean, it's got to be depending on like elevation, your winds, your smoke and everything, right? So your first couple drops, if nobody's on the ground, are you just kind of dumping blind, trying to figure it out?
Trying to figure it out. And then whoever's number 2 can say, how much you missed it by, or maybe a wind direction.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's a lot of times the first guy is trying to figure it out, and the second guy's seeing what's going on.
Just taking your best guess based on what little you have.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. And so when you guys go, I've seen you guys go in tandem. And then is there any times where you're both separate, like trying to fight it from both sides or anything?
sometimes you might have some different targets,
Mhm.
but they're usually going to be pretty close.
Gotcha. Okay. And when you guys were on that first day, was it that whole 3.5 hours trying to stay out there?
Yeah, we did. Well, so back when it first started, we did it. We did a cycle, and then we got pulled off to the 8 Mile fire.
Oh, right.
So we went over there, and then maybe the next day we're back out there. So they can kind of, dispatch us where they think that we'd be most useful.
Yeah, because you guys are your first attack almost always.
Initial attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there's multiple fires like that, they can request resources, but where the 8 Mile took priority because there was houses
Sure,
being
yeah.
threatened, where there was no structures or anything.
And so you guys can't go until you're told to go.
That's right.
Right. Okay. And so what about a day like today when it's like just covered in smoke? I mean, is it too high of a risk for you guys to go on the planes?
It can be.
Yeah. Because like right now you can barely see towards the Dalles. Remember, right?
Yeah.
We would get a dispatch, see where the fire's at, and then kind of weigh the cost benefits of taking that risk.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, if there's structure or something going to go right, it's got to be terrifying when you're blindly, especially with terrain like this. I mean, of course, you have maps and everything in the airplanes, but it's terrifying. I won't even fly my drone when it's smoky. Okay. So when you make the drop on the fire, how fast are the planes going?
About 115, 120 miles an hour.
That's a lot of calculations. So that, I mean, you guys can hit it pretty much dead on after second or third pass, but like I said, that's got to just be tough as hell to try to gauge that first time.
Yeah, you plan to win a lot sometimes,
especially around here. So when you refill in the river, is there any restricted areas that you can't go, or you just try to find the most open place and land, or skim, I guess?
We try to find the most protected area on the river.
Uh-huh.
A day like today, we can scoop in the middle.
Yeah.
But days like it's been the first part of this week when it's blowing 30 plus miles an hour, we have to find somewhere where the waves are, where the swells in the river aren't as bad.
Uh-huh.
We're looking for like a smaller frequency of wave action than those big swells. We can't scoop in those big swells.
Gotcha. I never thought about that.
So we're looking around a corner or protected on one side of the bank or something.
Or curve, something like that.
Yeah.
Because you also have those little islands. You have all the power lines. You have boats out there.
Yeah.
You ever had any close calls where you're scooping?
Occasionally. I mean, the wind's been pretty tricky earlier this week when we was scooping behind this little island up here. We were having to scoop with a crosswind. And it's not so much the crosswind, it's occasionally a gust would come.
Uh-huh.
And then you got
So if you're coming in and it's, you kind of have to be sideways and that plane hits that water, does it straighten you out real quick?
if you don't try to stop it.
Yeah.
That's the trick. You have to stop it from doing that.
It's got to be terrifying. Can't do that. And obviously you're not landing, you're skimming down, and it takes how long again to fill it up?
10, 12 seconds.
Gosh. Okay. What's the sketchiest part? Is it entering the water, filling, or getting back off the river? Like when it's, say 25, 30 mile an hour winds.
Man, it varies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some days it can be getting on the water. Some days it's the climb out. And I'm not talking necessarily at the river, just
Anywhere.
different scoop sites like Timothy or Lake Billy Chinook, or, we get some higher altitude lakes and stuff.
Gotcha.
So it's each
Yeah,
one's
'cause you
got
got
its own challenge.
trees and everything everywhere, right?
Mhm.
So does that change the amount of water you can get if
It
it's
can, yeah. The higher the altitude or less dense the air, the lower the performance of the airplane is.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're on these hot days or at a higher altitude up in the mountains, we might have to adjust the load that we're able to carry out safely out of the scoop site.
That's wild.
That's one of the popular or benefits of these smaller single engine scoopers is you can get them close to a scoop site. It's not necessarily the amount of water it's carrying each time. It's the gallons per hour is being delivered. I mean, a couple of years ago, we were scooping out of Pond Hollow. Not ideal, but we were getting 400 to 500.
Yeah. So you're saving a ton of time.
Back to like right now on the GrossHopper, about 15-minute turnarounds. Whereas when we were, it might have been 5-minute turnarounds.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference,
So-
especially when it first takes off, right? Yeah. So when you have people down there, is there a specific person that you talk to every time? Like, hey, dump here, and you need to be, this many wingspans off, or how does that work?
So each incident will have an incident commander, and we have the radios that we can talk directly to the firefighters on the ground if we're on scene, and so they can say, hey, we need, this is your target, or these are our priorities, whatever you think from up there, or we can give them a size up because we be their eyes in the sky until some more area supervision gets on scene.
Gotcha. So it's more of a collaborative thing, like
Absolutely.
you have to be right.
Absolutely, yeah. We're here. We're there to help them.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. And so sometimes you guys had told me that you use lead planes. So do you guys they just both take off at the same time, and then how does it work when you dump? Do they slow back to see where your site was, or how does that work?
He can't. He's not as common with the scoopers as it would be retard.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he might pick us up and to expedite an area or a target that he wants, he might bring us over there and show us the drop, just like he would a retardant airplane.
Gotcha. Okay.
But usually they give us an area and say, okay, I want you to work this flank, this ridge, and then they may have retardant somewhere else on the fire. They might have helicopters somewhere else. And then they just kind of leave us alone.
Yeah.
and then just tell us to go to work.
You guys are explicitly water on those two planes, right?
We can haul retardant, although I never have in the scooper, but we can.
Gotcha.
But yeah. And as Air Attack, yeah, he's circling above, watching everything, and he may be able to tell us, you need to adjust the wingspan left or right, and kind of help us dial it in. But and the lead plane can do the same thing. It's just not very common for a scooper to work.
Gotcha. Okay. There's one thing you guys told me yesterday that blew my mind: the helicopters, how much water they can hold in those buckets.
And that bucket size varies. I mean, you'd say like 50 gallons. And they are what they call Bambi buckets for the smaller helicopters. And I think those started around 60 gallons.
Gotcha. Okay.
But they go as 800 plus gallons, I think.
That's crazy. I thought they were all like 55-gallon drones, basically. That's so wild. What's the biggest misconception people have when they see aircraft dropping water on fires that you guys hear? Question you hear all the time, and you're like, no, that's not true.
We're putting it out. I mean, we can suppress it and grass. Yeah, we can put grass out, but we're there to support the ground crews. An airplane is not going to put the fire out.
If you got trees burning, you need people down there.
We can suppress it. We can cool it down so they can get in there. It's common for us to drop in front of a dozer line or in front of a brush truck coming with behind it.
I never thought about that aspect.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, someone said that people were training out here to drop some of the firefighters into the fire. Did you guys see that happen?
Oh, the helicopter with the rappel ships?
Yes.
Yeah, if they hadn't flown in however many days their currency is, they'll do their little practice currency rappel operations.
That's crazy. I never thought about the helicopters dropping firefighters into the fire. Yeah. Obviously not in the fire, in the middle of fire where you couldn't drive. That's pretty cool. What's more difficult, mountainous timber fires or fast-moving grass fire?
Again, they both present their own challenges. I mean, the wind blows so hard. And if we're not close to the water source, a grass fire outflank us.
Yeah.
And the timber is sometimes the terrain is the obstacle.
Yeah.
How to maneuver in that terrain.
Yeah, if nobody can get in there except for you guys, that makes for a long day, I bet. Have you ever gotten to a situation where you thought, like, I need to get out of here, this is too much?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. Or, and usually you've had that discussion before, like, hey, this isn't gonna work, or we're not being effective due to whatever the smoke is or terrain is or winds or something.
So that could be, based on what, like ridges, if there's homes nearby.
Sure. Yeah. Time of day, conditions, any of those things.
Yeah. Can you fly at night with those? That might be a dumb question.
So the airplane can fly at night. Sure, it's got lights on and everything like that, but contractually we have to be on the ground no later than 30 minutes after sundown.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. Can you think of the closest call you both had in your career so far, where you're like, I might have, like, I thought I was going to crash, or I was about to crap my pants.
I'm sure there's been times.
This
I'm trying not to dwell on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you drive by, you see it like miss your wing by like a couple feet, and you're like, whoa. Does that happen?
You can have some close calls, but nothing jumps out at me, you know, the last few years. Play things pretty conservatively,
Yeah.
and stay safe, you know.
Well, and those planes are so big. Like when you see it from, my perspective, it looks like you guys are like inches away from everything when you're dropping into the river to take off. What has your role specifically been on the GrossHopper fire?
This one was supporting some structural protection on the far northeast corner.
Mm-hmm. So were you out there I assume you're out there most of the day, right?
Yeah.
What day was that?
What was that? Monday or Tuesday.
Is that when that nasty started coming down this way?
Yeah, it's pretty windy. They had the multi-engine scoopers supporting the same area while the heli.
Somebody said it was like 3 or 4 miles in an hour.
It doesn't surprise me.
It's starting to get into more grass and thinner fuel. So, it would travel faster in that grass.
Right.
It's not heavy timber.
Jeez. And you've been scooping mostly for this one and the Columbia, yeah?
Yeah, lately it's been the Timothy just because of closer.
Sure.
Waters.
Makes sense. I would assume it's easier to get into here too. A lot easier than getting from Timothy.
Yeah.
Well,
it's been so smoky, we would have to actually go from the north side all the way back around to Timothy instead of direct because the smoke is so bad.
Can't see
so we've been on the north side and the clear.
Every time I think of Timothy, my brothers, I was probably 11 or 12, and it was like early June. We went camping out there. Have you ever swam in that? It is cold.
It's cold.
It is miserably cold. And my brothers were like, you should dive in at the dock and impress those girls. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So I went to dive, and it sucked the air out of me immediately. Right, get up, I'm like, I slam the water trying to breathe. And they're sitting there dying laughing. The girls are like, dude, help. I'm like, oh, good.
It's a beautiful lake.
It is.
And I will say too, the people that are boating out there have been doing their best to stay out of our way.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, we've been scooping and stuff. So we appreciate that, and also do the little drone, like put your drones on the ground. I know you want to get some good shots of the fire, or even, even if you're between, the airport, not in the flight restricted area, still keep them on the ground.
Yeah.
Because that is a hazard that's beyond our control.
Yeah. No kidding. That's a good point.
Just ask people to be responsible with their drones.
Yeah. Are you able to see it on any of your mapping systems?
If they had an ADS-B, we'd be able to see them. But as far as seeing them visually, they're just too small, and we're moving too fast to be able to see them.
Yeah. Gosh. Have we ever had a run-in with one?
No.
Luckily, no. When everyone in the Dalles sees smoke blowing one direction and then the wind changes, what does that mean to you when you're in the airplane?
The priorities could shift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can change between drops, so the priorities can shift, and that's where we're communicating with the firefighters on the ground, or the air attack or lead planes, in the air to adjust as we need to.
I never thought about that. So even 15 minutes there and back, you might have
to change a little bit. It could change some.
Dang.
Yeah,
new target.
With the scooper and us being there 3.5 hours, you get to see a lot of changes in real time. Whereas a returning plane may only come back. A lot can change in an hour.
Do you know how long it takes them to refill that retardant?
When they get on the ground and get hooked up for an 802, it's about 4 minutes.
Oh, that's quick. But they still have to land, take off, and everything.
That's right. The lats, I'm really not. I'd say 10, 15 minutes turnaround time.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that can make a big difference if you guys are constantly gone. I get that. You're flying a single engine airplane into smoke, wind, mountains, and fire, then intentionally touching down on a river at speed. What part of your job scares your family the most, and what part scares you the most? Guess what are you most worried about? Starting to get the feeling you guys aren't scared of much up there.
Just days when it's really windy in this gorge. That's my most.
Takeoff and landing or both?
Just the scooping on the wall.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, is if this engine stops running, this would be a bad time for it to stop if it decided.
I never thought about that. Because if you're on the side, a couple miles out of Timothy, there's nowhere for you to land.
Right.
Well, there's plenty of places to land. It's not good.
That's right. You're going to land somewhere. May not be your preferred spot. That would be, you are relying on a mechanical machine.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten close to running out of fuel or anything?
No. Play that pretty conservatively.
Yeah. So working so much and in such crazy terrain, do you think before you got into this, would you consider being a pilot for like a different type of airplane? Or you guys just love doing this?
It's kind of like all you know at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you've been here since April?
June 1st.
June.
Here in the gorge.
And
I've been on contract since April 14th. Started in Minnesota this year. Left Minnesota, and 2 days later started the contract here.
And when do you get to go back home?
Whenever ODF says they're no longer a need. So we were contracted with ODF for 75 days. And traditionally, that contract starts July 1st. 75 days around September 15th. But they have the option of extending us. So we could get extended later in the month, which we traditionally finish around the 20th of September.
Yeah.
Seeing early. So it didn't go into our 75 days. So they just utilized the option of call when needed to get us out here and get started.
Gotcha. The same for you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys come together at the same time?
Yeah. Both planes are for ODF contract.
How do they ride because I assume you flew both of those here.
Mm-hmm.
How do they ride when you're doing those long distances like that?
The canoe's slowing down. The flow's slowing down, but they fly fine.
How fast can they go when you're doing like multi-state trips like that?
Oh, they're doing what? 150, 160?
Yeah, we flight plan at 150, being on the conservative side, but hopefully we have a tailwheel going home. It's across the ground.
Heck yeah. Is there any states that you just hate flying through? None of them. Because I know like some of those airplanes or airports that you land in, there's a ton more turbulence. It depends on where you're at.
Oh,
we got a new board.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.